I don't know why I've decided to do this angle, but we're gonna go with it. Hello. It has been a good 8 months, I think, but you know, a lot's changed in the 8 months, and a lot of improvements have happened in terms of my mental health, and a lot of things unfortunately are still the same, but you know, that's life and things don't happen straight away. In this video I thought I'd just kind of talk about my habits with OCD and anxiety and my depression habits as well, just so none of you feel alone, if you can relate to any of them. My mum is in the background cooking if you hear any noise.
Sorry guys.
Exactly, but yeah, I thought I'd just do a little video on my habits, because it was requested on my Instagram quite a while ago, and I said I was going to do it, but I never got round to it. So I thought, what better way to, you know, do it than to just sit here and talk and explain them. I'm actually quite scared to do this video just because I do feel quite exposed. Like, I don't really want to, you know, talk about my habits with people, because that's something I usually talk about in therapy. But when I thought about it, I thought, if I'm doing this, if at least one person sees this and can relate and can be like, oh, like, I'm going through that too, like, oh, I didn't know, like, other people, do you get what I mean? Like, I want to be that person that can make you feel okay and not alone, basically. So I am stepping out of my comfort zone, and I think it's for good, and I think it's also very important for me to do this so I can get off my chest as well and normalize them and try and get out of them. And you know, some of the habits have been going on ever since my OCD started, and yeah, some of the habits are really, like, to people who don't have OCD, or people that don't have the same OCD as me, or anxiety or depression, some of these might sound a bit weird, but these are my personal habits. So yeah, if you can't relate to some of them, then just listen, I guess, and just because I guarantee I'm not the only person with some of these habits. But yeah, I thought I'd return to this space and just, yeah, I do, this is the thing, I did want to, I have been wanting to come back to this channel all year, but I don't want it to be a thing where it's like, oh, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this. I actually want to just have little breaks and let myself grow, so I can come back to you guys and be like, okay, this is what I've improved on, this is what's still the same. Do you get what I mean? I didn't realise I was on camera. Okay. I will actually take you through my habits, as in I will go and show you what the habits look like, so it's more understandable. I'm not gonna lie, I'm really fucking nervous. Yeah, these are very personal to me. But, you know what? If this can help one person, then I'm more than happy, because again, as I've said in the other videos, I just don't feel like any part of OCD is spoken about enough at all. Any part, like, there are more popularized mental health struggles that people talk about, and I wouldn't say OCD is one of them. So I want to be that kind of advocate to really talk about it, because there's a lot of people, even if it's minor OCD, little things, like, everyone has some inch of OCD, and I think it's definitely not talked about enough. And yeah, the fact that when I first started thinking that I had OCD, I was embarrassed about it, just literally shows you that I literally thought that nobody else had it, literally. I honestly thought it was just a thing that my brain did, until I searched it up and I, you know, saw the statistics and whatever, whether they're true or not. And I actually met people that go through the same things as me, not the exact same, but similar, because, you know, everyone's different. But yeah, I've actually met people, and these videos have also helped me a lot, because, you know, a lot of people have been texting me saying this really helped me, and I'm really glad that this is helping people, because, you know, this was my whole point. This isn't for me, this is for you, and this is to help you. And it kind of is for me as in ways, and this will also help me grow by speaking to the camera, because, you know, I've been speaking to a camera probably for like 8 or 9 years now, and it as much as doing my normal bubbly YouTube videos with Taylor sounds crazy and whatever, it is actually very therapeutic just to sit there and speak to a camera. Don't feel like that's talked about enough. But even I sometimes sit there by myself and I'm on my Mac, so I'm really drifting off, but I sit there on my Mac and do a little video diary, and you know, I'll do one and say this is where I want to be in a year, or I'll talk about my feelings. I used to do that on my Mac before it broke, but yeah, I think just sitting there by yourself and talking to a camera is very therapeutic, even if it doesn't go anywhere, just to like let it out. Do you get what I mean? Right, so the first habit I thought I'd talk about is the stairs. So this is an OCD habit for me that also, sorry. So yeah, I did finish my therapy when did I finish therapy? Last year, January? No, this year, January, sorry. I finished that therapy and I've now moved on to a new therapy. I'm not gonna lie, I did learn a lot in the first therapy about OCD, and it helped me normalize it a lot, but I didn't feel like that specific therapy was right for me now that I've got the therapy that I've got, because I've got therapy with someone that I can relate to, and you know, just more of a free therapy rather than an NHS. Yeah, but what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna try and find some small company therapies, because in a way I feel like they're better, because they're actually, you know, I'm not to say that people like companies for the NHS don't want to help or whatever. That's totally not true, because that's what they're there to do. But I feel like some smaller therapy companies just might take more time with you. I'd say a big change in the therapy that I have now is that my therapist lets me speak. Like, not that my other therapist didn't, but it was a lot of questions, and the kind of free form to just speak and talk about my feelings and unpack. That has been really helpful, because if you've seen my other video, I did used to leave therapy feeling quite upset. And I think that in my newer therapy that I'm on now, every single session I've done, I've come out the other end feeling happy and better. And I feel like that's what, even if I've had a bad week, it's not to say that therapy is always going to be great, because it isn't. And I know I've only just started my new therapy, but at the minute, unpacking, like literally after therapy, has felt like a breath of fresh air. And I also think, I was just going to say this with therapy, please do not be afraid to say everything and anything, because the more you unpack, the better you'll feel, trust me. Right, let me get into my habits. So the first habit is the stairs. This habit came around, it was probably one of my first habits. It came around through, it is a habit that came across through trauma, but in a way, yeah, I'll kind of explain it to you. So basically, when I was younger, I walked up to the top step, not the top step, the second to top step, and basically my brain thought an intrusive thought about my parents. And then 2 years later, the intrusive thought came true, and in my brain I was like, oh fuck, like this was me, and it really messed with my fucking head. And ever since then, I'm getting better at it, a lot better at it, but yeah, going up, every single time I go up any kind of stairs, especially my stairs at home, because that's where it happened, it is very hard. And I'm not gonna lie, most of the time I do skip the step, and I'm gonna train myself better, and you know, I'm in therapy and I'm training my habits, so I'm not obviously giving you my habits saying like these are my old habits, like these are my current habits, like that I'm trying to work on and that I'm working on, and it has gotten a lot better, I'm not gonna lie, but at the same time, I didn't actually explain it, so what I do is I said I skip the step, or like if I go up the step and I think an intrusive thought whilst I'm going up that step, then I'll step back down and then step up until I think a good thought, basically. So yeah, that is my first habit. My second habit, this one doesn't happen all the time. I'd say the stairs one is a more of an everyday one, but this habit is more maybe every other day or something. So this is in the shower. So the shower buttons, you know, the on and off button. If I am in the shower, I usually put on music so that I get distracted from my thoughts, which I'm not gonna lie guys, I'll get onto I could do a whole nother video on why music is so important, but yeah. So with the shower, I would, like, if I turn off the switch and I think an intrusive thought, or I think something bad's gonna happen, or I've said, it's so weird, I have to explain it in proper detail so you actually understand. The timing of my hand pressing the button and turning the shower off, that is the kind of main area where the thoughts happen. And it's so weird because it's literally a minuscule of a second, but that's what makes me keep turning it on and off until I get the perfect thought in my head, or just a good thought, or just even to think nothing would be great, but it's clearly most of the time not possible. So yeah, it's literally in that minuscule of a second of turning the shower off. If I think a bad thought, then I'll have to turn it on, and then usually after that it'll happen 3 or 4 more times, maybe even some days literally 6 or 7. I'll be doing it for ages, and I probably just sound like a weirdo going in the shower to my twin and whoever, my mom and whoever. But yeah, I would say it used to be a lot worse. That one's I've improved on a lot. But on my bad days, that one is very common, but it's not as common as the stairs. Okay, that is my second habit. These are OCD so far. My third habit is walking. So this could literally be anywhere. It happens a lot of the time when I'm out with my friends, or happens more so when I'm alone. Because I'm left by myself and with my thoughts. When I'm with my friends, I can distract myself more. But if I'm walking, these are probably going to sound quite repetitive. Like if I say like, oh, if I think a bad thought, then blah, blah, blah. But at the same time, this is what OCD is. Like this is what OCD is. This is the intrusive thought is literally, do you get what I mean? So yeah, it will literally just be like I'm walking, and if I think something intrusive, or I think something negative, or I think something bad's gonna happen, or my brain tells me something bad's gonna happen, then I have to retrace my steps to exactly where I thought that thought, stand there, or walk further behind it and walk back again through the step, and basically think something positive, or tell my brain that it isn't gonna happen. Do you get what I mean? So yeah, that one is actually very, very common. I would say it does happen to me every single time I go out. Obviously, there will be days where it's not as common. I will do another video talking about how I deal with my habits, because I thought in this video I'd just talk about them, just to, you know, help anyone out there that might be able to relate. So if you do want to see that video, let me know. Okay, my fourth habit. This is another habit, but this is probably one of my biggest habits at the moment that has come more apparent. That I haven't spoken to my therapist about this because I haven't been too sure about it, or like about if it's even anything to do with OCD. But I kind of thought it was. But okay. So basically, you'll understand in a minute, but I didn't know whether it was to do with OCD or something potentially different to do with the actual habit that it is. So quite a bit recently, I've been getting. Oh. Let's wait for this police car because we're in central London. Quite recently, I've been getting a lot of tics, and tics as in like, they can even be like the tiniest tic. Like this is probably my worst one here. Like, oh my gosh. I just like, I literally can't describe it. It's like, it's not even like my brain, it doesn't even have to be linked to my brain, but just like, Actually, no, in a way I do think it's linked to my brain, because if my brain, like, oh, I can't explain it. Right. So, I have been getting tics a lot recently, and I will explain the tics to you. Sometimes when I think a bad thought, and I don't want it to be in my head anymore, I'll just like shake my head, or, you know, nod my head to try and get the thought out of my brain, to kind of shake it out of my brain. That one is probably my most apparent tic. I don't know whether to call them tics or not, because, you know, I don't want to, like, I don't really understand what they are yet, but at the same time I do want to speak about it, because you know, I do want to document this and just speak about it. So yeah, it will be a lot of just like nodding my head. A lot of the time when my thoughts get really loud and I'm having a really bad day, you know, I can literally be like standing there like with my palm in my hand, like shaking my head for like a good 20 minutes. And sometimes it's even been a good half an hour of me just sitting there. So yeah, that is one of the tics. Another one is my wrist. So like if I feel my wrist go like this or like that, like in any circumstance, or if I'm, yeah, these tics I will say are more apparent when I'm by myself. But yeah, literally I don't know like what, I can't explain it. But like if my wrist goes like that, like literally bends like that, then I have to like do that until it doesn't feel like a sensation anymore. It's so confusing, but if any of you understand, then great. But yeah, it's literally like if I do that with my hand, this isn't all the time as well, like I can just do that with my hand, but if I like, if I'm talking to you and I'm focusing on my wrist, then it will happen. But do you get what I mean? It's weird because it's like if I think about my wrist moving, like if I'm, say, this is a good example. So I was lying down last night watching YouTube, and sometimes I just become randomly aware of like my body and life and everything around me randomly. And this happens a lot late at night, early in the morning. So I was literally sitting there like this, and I was just like, I must have put my phone down or something, and I was just like this. And even that, look, even that like tiny movement, sometimes, like, so last night for example, I did that, and then my brain was just like, kept doing it until it's a weird, I don't know if it's something to do with like the nerves here or something, but there's a weird feeling sometimes that my brain has to get rid of, and usually if it doesn't come from a bad thought, it will literally just come randomly. And I don't know if that's because of my OCD or an effect of my OCD or potentially something else, but those are my two main ones, the head nodding and the wrist flicking. Other than that, I can't really think of any. If I do, I will let you guys know. But yeah, I thought I'd just sit down today and explain my habits. They are still very apparent. These are very raw habits. These are still things that I'm going through. So I'm just trying to, you know, improve, and, you know, I'm trying to, you know, they are bad habits that I do want to get rid of, because yeah, they're annoying and they take up a lot of time in my day that, you know, could be for something else. So I am working on them all, and, you know, it's better to go one by one. Like, I'm probably going to focus on the steps first in my therapy and just, you know, go one by one, because, you know, it isn't good to rush things and try and do everything at once and be like, I can do this all. Yeah, because, and it's weird because it's very up and down. Like, some days I will have this habit, some days I won't, but they are all habits at the end of the day that I can get rid of. And I'm determined to get rid of them because they are very annoying, especially the head tics and the stares. Oh my gosh, so annoying. But yeah, I thought I'd just sit down and talk about my habits. If this has helped any of you, then I'm so glad. If it hasn't, then I hope you've learned more about OCD. Okay, I think I'm going to talk about my anxiety habits and my depression habits. These aren't specific habits of like, I have to, okay, well it's not, but sorry, let me just, okay, so my anxiety habits, I'd say, I don't know how to explain it. My habit most recently with anxiety, I had a really bad effect of anxiety when I was in, working, and it was literally the amount of stress that I put my brain through every day for no reason, mostly being my OCD, but also being very strong anxiety at first, the amount of stress I put my brain through was not okay. Well, and it wasn't even me, it was my brain. So basically, I just was very anxious about a certain situation, and the anxiety couldn't shake off me because every time I'd go to do the situation again, then I'd come back to it. This is what I felt. I felt that every time my anxiety was going down, however, it was still there every time. And OCD can have a real bad knock-on effect with anxiety because, you know, if your brain's screaming at you thoughts and telling you this and this and this, and you're about to, you know, go on stage, or you're about to sit an exam, then, you know, it can just be really annoying and make your anxiety 10 times, not even 10 times, a million times worse for absolutely no reason. Okay, so yeah, that's my main one really with anxiety, like just in situations where like I feel anxious, I'll kind of explain the feeling to you. I don't really know if this is a habit, like, well, it is a habit because it happens. So basically, if I'm feeling really anxious, so say I'm nervous about something, I had a really bad experience where I literally felt like my body was about to drop to the floor because I felt that anxious. And I will say it mostly came from OCD, but it also came from nerves at the same time. And I didn't really know how to deal with it because I was just there in the moment and it never happened before. And it just, yeah, I mean, it just felt horrible. And yeah, after that, a few days after, I felt like the anxiety was going down, but then I started feeling this physical effect of anxiety, which I've never felt in my life. And I literally felt lightheaded and dizzy for a good 4 or 5 days straight, and I couldn't get rid of it. I was trying everything. I thought I had a headache at first. And the only thing that seemed to kind of help was calling my therapist and talking about it. After I felt so much better. I didn't feel completely better. I still felt dizzy, but you know, I got through it. It was horrible, but I'd never been through something before where I've been anxious and then it stayed with me to a point where I can't control it, and the dizziness and stuff was from like where it's had that much effect on me. Do you know what I mean? Okay, so that's kind of a big habit, just like the kind of, how do I explain it, like the nerves. I would call that habit more of an exhaustion habit, because it's not a habit where like I'm doing something, it's a habit that had an effect on me from my own brain, from my own anxiety. So it is a habit, but I would call it like exhaustion because it literally made me feel literally depleted and low and like shit. Like I actually felt disgusting, and it wasn't even something I can control, which was so annoying. And I was like, why can't I control this? Hello, like why do I feel dizzy? Like even when I didn't have the anxiety anymore and I felt fine, I still felt dizzy, and I was like, is this really what my brain has done to me for absolutely no reason? And it's just crazy. I've learned a lot about my anxiety in the past few months. And yeah, I don't know if this is a thing with OCD or anxiety, but for me, they play a part on both. Mind blanking. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, this is my biggest, probably one of my biggest fucking habits when I'm anxious. My mind just blanks and I can't control it. It is so annoying. It's the most annoying thing in the world, because I can literally be in a dance class and I just start suddenly feeling anxious about my outfit or about my hair, and then my brain is just like, like, what the fuck is going on? I'm looking at myself in the mirror like, like your hair's a mess, and then my brain's just telling me my hair's a mess 10 million times. And then when I'm getting to fucking dance, I'm like, well shit, like, no wonder I've missed out a move. Alright, hello, why is there a fucking cheese grater there? My dog brought in a cheese grater yesterday randomly. I was like, from the kitchen. I was like, where did you get that from? Hello, so the camera died yesterday and I did have a party to go to, so I just decided that if I was gonna have, you know, a pre-drink, then I wouldn't film anymore. Do you get what I mean? So I decided to come back on today and carry on. So I'm just gonna quickly talk about my habits for depression. So kind of the habits I go into when I'm feeling depressy and like, yeah. So usually with me, with depression, it comes very randomly. Like I can literally just wake up with the feeling and feel like shit. I'd say my worst habit when I'm feeling depressed is sleeping, because I feel like that's a big one for a lot of people. Just like sleeping to just not feel like that. Do you get what I mean? Like in my head, I'd rather just sleep than feel like that. So that's a big habit. It does help in a way, but it's also not a good habit because I should learn how to, you know, avoid it. But some days you can't avoid it, and you know, with depression, it's especially if you have past trauma, then it's very much not that easy to, you know, go away. Yeah, so that's probably my main habit. Also, my other habit, another thing I would say is literally cutting everyone off. That's a bad habit. And I don't mean cut them off as in like completely, like nothing dramatic like that. In terms of cutting people off, I mean literally not speaking to anyone when I'm feeling like that and just thinking that everyone's against me secretly. And do you get what I mean? Like when you're in like a depressive mood, it's very much an independent feeling. And yeah, I mean, depending on where your depression stems from, mine being from past experiences, it is very hard to also feel able to open up to anyone when you're feeling like that. It's more like I just want to be by myself feeling, well, for me. So yeah, that, I just won't speak to anyone. That is quite a bad habit. In reality, nobody is against me that I know of. And then I'd just say my other habit with depression is literally, yeah, I think just like when I feel like that, I just don't feel positive about anything. Everything around me feels just dark and gloomy, and even the clothes I put on sometimes just, like even the feeling of putting on clothes, I know it might sound weird, but I just like, yeah, like that. But yeah, I'd say those are my main habits. So yeah, I will do a video on how I'm learning to deal with the habits and stuff. But yeah, just let me know if you want to see it. I hope this video has helped at least one person. If it does that, and if you can relate to anything, or even if you've learned something, then great. I'm gonna go literally do nothing for the rest of the day.